want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
Good day, Madmen Mafia.
Right, yo. We hit them up on the weekend up in this joint as we recording this bad boy, man. We coming off
Changing it up on
schedule. We off menu today, man. Hey, I am Kirk M. Samuels.
And I am Jason B. Kendrick.
And we are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
That's right. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
That's right.
And it's been a minute, y'all. We apologize. We just had the men's summit. We've been having technical difficulties. And so we apologize to everybody that tunes in regularly. Our bad, y'all. You know, stuff happens.
It's all JBK's fault, man. It's all his fault.
Why it gotta be my fault?
I don't know why it's got to be. It just is. I mean,
yeah, I'm not the one with plumbing issues and all kind of stuff.
Hey, man, don't make fun of me, man, because I ain't got no hot water.
Still?
Hopefully, still no hot water, man.
Man, be stinking
hot water. The guy will be by hopefully tomorrow to give me some hot water, man. But yeah, I've been having more issues than Sports Illustrated.
It's not even funny because it's happening for real.
More issues than Kleenex got tissues, but you know, so I gotta go to the gym just to use the shower.
What? Well, I guess you know, you, at least they got one you can use. You know, you go in the gym anyway, but still.
You know, the trippy part is, man, you know, this is very American of us. You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes I sit around and I'm like, man, you know, I'm complaining because I don't have hot water, you know, my free running water in terms of just free flow when you open the faucet. But it's like, I don't want to use my cold water because, you know, it's American of us, man. And sometimes, you know, us, you know, we forget how good we got it, man. We forget how much just the basic stuff in life we take for granted, and how much the rest of the world wishes they had just half the stuff that we do.
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly common to have hot water heaters and things across the world, but not everybody has them. I mean, they gotta like heat up their water in a pot, or they just take cold showers, or they just
fact is, man, a lot of people don't even have running water. You know, I mean, or just running water. Period. You know, there's places where they gotta walk 5 miles to get a 5-gallon thing of water out of the river or something like that, and walk back, or whatever. So. You know, yeah, just trying to keep it in perspective, man. But it is what it is. I'm American. I mean, I'm not, you know, I mean, I ain't ashamed of it. It just is what it is, man. But that's why, you know, and the reality is, us as men, you know, we gotta sometimes get to the point where we can get soft, man, and take things for granted. We don't like the battle. We don't like the fight in the world, or the fight in life. And that's why we need other men to help us, to come alongside of us, to walk life with us, and to sharpen each other as swords, as blades of iron, which are tools of war, tools of creation.
Well, I mean, I love the way it started though, because it is something that men do for men, is give a different perspective, let you know that it ain't all that. And, you know, it's good to have a different perspective, especially when you got no hot water. You know, you got to go to the gym for a shower. And yeah, maybe it's first world problems, but it's still an issue. I mean, you get used to what you get used to. So having men around to be like, hey, you know, I know it sucks, but hey, you know, half the world doesn't have running water. They got to walk to the stream, and, you know, their water's not clean. I mean, all these different things. It's good to have that perspective. But when you don't have a group of guys around you, or you don't have some friends around you, sometimes it's really hard to get yourself out of that perspective. You get stuck, you get tunnel vision. You look at the world through this tinted lens of, you know, it's all bad or it's all good, or, you know, my life sucks, when it's like, you know, it may be right now. Doesn't have to suck forever, but when you have guys around to give you a little different perspective, then it helps you to focus back on what's really important, because you got a roof over your head, you got food in the fridge, you know, you got good friends, you got good people around you. You know, life could be worse.
And so today, man, to talk about iron sharpening iron, or just men sharpening one another, you know, like I said, if we're all a sword, if we're all a saw, or whatever kind of tool, you want to put in that metaphor. After a while, that blade becomes it becomes less sharp than it was. It becomes less effective than it was. It becomes less dangerous in a good way than it was. It's just not as effective. You know what I'm saying? And so, you have a knife, a blade, or something like that. There are times where just because of life, just because of the way it gets used, you gotta take the time to if you will, grind it back down to what it was in terms of something that is as sharp as it needs to be. And that process, it is a process. And so us as guys, man, we do ourselves a disservice when we don't get into circles, when we don't get into um, connections or relationships or whatever that put us in a position to sharpen each other, man, on a daily basis.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we've talked about for years and years, and it's, every guy needs to have a group of guys, especially if you're in a relationship, because the more you're around your woman, the more you emulate her, the more she emulates you, the more you lose the polarity. And so you need to have guys around you to build back up your masculine polarity. You need other guys around you to sharpen your sword. You need other guys around you to give you a safe space to vent, because it's one of the things in our culture that we're slowly learning, but most guys don't have anybody to vent to. They don't have anybody to get a different opinion from. They're taught to suck it up, be a man, don't cry in your Wheaties, all these different things, and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But when you have a group of guys around you who are going through similar things as you number one realize you're not an island. You're not as isolated as you think you are. Plus, by letting off some of that steam, you're not going to implode or explode, and so you become much more healthy. You become a much better man, and you're sure, to Kirk's point, stay sharp. You always keep that sharpening stone, that whetstone around to keep that blade sharp, because it's a constant battle, man. You're always using that sword. You're always using your wits. You're always using your masculinity. You need something to sharpen it. You need something to keep it honed. And that's a lot of times mental, sometimes emotional, but it's always an ongoing process.
When right out of the gate, for you to talk about, the relationship factor and all of that, is huge, man. That's important. I mean, I have zero reservations and zero hesitation about the fact that I love my wife to death. I mean, I would not substitute her for anybody. I would not. I would not want another woman in that place in my life. She is absolutely fantastic, and I'm a blessed man because of her. My life is better in almost every measurable way because she's in my life and she's been in my life. And when she came into my life, things changed. And at the same time, to your point, being that when you mix the masculinity and the femininity, when you mix the masculine and the feminine, if you will, the male and the female in this case, they both of them do have a tendency, once in relationship, to come off of those centers of polarity. And the more she's around me, the more she can sometimes lose her, that soft feminine, touch that I love so much. And so it's important for her, and I encourage her to spend time with her friend. I mean, that's, in her female circles and whatever she needs, for that. Hugely important. And that's something that we valued from day one, her and I. And at the same time, I fully recognize that the more I'm just around my wife only, I also come off of my masculine center, and I begin to gravitate, towards the feminine side of that spectrum. And so the chemistry, the formula just gets off. I mean, it just does. And for me, I've learned that I need to make sure that I'm plugged in and I am surrounded by and live life with other men that I respect, men that I appreciate, men that are valuable, men that have value and worth, and just spend time with the men in my life, because otherwise I'm going to lose that sense. I would lose the thing that she finds valuable in me. by being around her. That's like the upside down nature of it all. And so, shoot, man, to spend time with my guys, whether it's golf, whether it's coffee like it was yesterday morning, or whether it's on here, whether it's whatever. I mean, just whatever. To spend time away off crafting and sharpening the blade of my manhood, it makes her better. When we had the summit, one of the things that Ken Curry talked about is me being powerful makes her more powerful. Me being powerful makes her more safe. I mean, it makes her more all of the things that she wants to be. So, so in order to do that, I have to make sure that I intentionally get in circles of other men.
Yeah, I mean, the relationship aspect is huge. It's one of the biggest, I mean, the most important decision a man can make is the woman he marries. But also on the other aspects of just success, fitness, health, whether it's emotional health, mental health, having guys around you to help you sharpen, having guys around you to help build you up, having guys around you to just emulate. What's the old saying? You want to see what your future is going to be, look at your 5 best friends. You are the average of your 5 best friends. So whether that's in success, whether that's physical fitness, whether that's money, whatnot, you can tell by the guys that are around you. And so when you are looking at your life and you're looking at it like, okay, I need to make some changes, a lot of times that comes up to who are the guys around you? Who are the people around you? Are you one of the guys that just got married and then forgot about his dudes and then ended up just spending all his time with his wife because he thought that's what he was supposed to do, like most nice guys? And then you start losing your masculine virility. You start losing that masculine energy. You start losing that masculine foundation. And that's why you got to have guys around you, and you need to make sure that you explain it correctly so that your woman's on the same page, because you want her to be with her women so she can come back more feminine. Because when she hangs around with you, she gets more masculine. She becomes more ball busting. She gets more critical. So you want her to hang out with her ladies. And then you want her to make sure she's on the same page and supports you and hang out with your guys so you can be the best version of yourself for her and for the relationship. But I mean, just every area of life, you pick one and look at the guys around you, and it'll tell you what your future is going to be. And it may be rough, it may be tough, but sometimes you got to edit those guys. You got to have a board meeting and be like, hey, I love you, dude, but you're not going the direction I'm going. I'm trying to go this way. You're trying to go that way. So let's, minimize our time together because I got to go hang out with this other dude that's going the direction I want to go. Sounds rough. Might be, make you sound like an a-hole, but these are things we got to do to be successful and to be the healthiest guys we can be for our family and in our lives.
And speaking of being the best we can be, man, speaking of being, the best we can be for our family and for our lives, we're going to be the best break we can be right now. And
that's that break.
And, get some business in, and we'll be right back. Madmen of Masculinity on KLDC. No, boom, man, I'm about to make some noise with this little clicker thing. I need to put it down.
You're breathing on the microphone too. Tanner's gonna tape your nose shut.
Yeah, I know he will. Boom.
You can get that email. Stop breathing.
Yep.
All that in and out. It's so repetitive. Stop it.
All right, cool.
Ready?
I got my stopwatch now, my big old watch that y'all be making fun of.
Big old watch. One that got you pulled over the side in security and they need to give you a pat down.
Yep. Sure enough, I had to send it through the x-ray machine. All right, here we go.
And we're back.
Yep.
Madmen of Masculinity, KLDC, all over the Mile High City, and right here on your laptop, phone, or whatever digital device that you're using to listen to us right now.
Man, it was good when we had the summit, and a couple guys came up and said that they were there because they listened. Basically, they're regular listeners, and they didn't know about the summit, heard about the summit, through our conversation and through this platform here. That was pretty cool, man. That was pretty cool to see guys show up and all of that, man. And we're going to come back with maybe some new formats, some new content, new direction, and all that kind of stuff, on the next go round of this bad boy. So I'm pretty excited about that. One of the things that day at the summit, I don't know who started it, probably Jeff, because he's just a knucklehead, but one of y'all started making fun of my watch. that I mentioned, my digital watch and how big it is, and all that. And then all of a sudden that became the joke of the day and the joke of the week and all that. Just, just giving each other a hard time. That's one of the things that guys do. That's one of the parts of male friendship and male brotherhood is, just again, keeping each other sharp, man. Just making fun of each other, picking on each other, all the inside jokes. In some ways, in some circles, people might, guys might give each other nicknames or something like that. But either way, that, it may look weird to let's say it may look weird to women that, when you get a bunch of guys around each other, we just make fun of each other and, call each other names and your mama jokes or whatever it is. But that's how guys sharpen each other. That's how we do things. So it may be unconventional. But that's, that kind of stuff builds camaraderie. It builds brotherhood. It builds male relationships and male bonding. But it also builds the ongoing sharpening between guys. It's another way that thing plays out.
Well, I mean, you look at when you sharpen a sword, you sharpen a knife. You're honing that edge. You're shaving away the useless stuff. You're shaving away the bits and the broken pieces. And and that's what kind of guys do. We want to keep each other sharp. So, and of course, you always have to remember too, if a guy's not making fun of you, he probably doesn't like you. So it's not a bad thing. That's how we bond. Guys, we bond shoulder to shoulder. We bond, in the trenches together. We bond doing projects. We bond making fun of each other. Because what's a father's job? What's a man's job? We're here to make you ready for the world. Well, the world's not nice. You're not going to be bubble wrapped. It's not going to come in. Oh, how's your feelings? Oh, how you doing? Oh, did you stub your toe? Oh, you poor little baby. No, it's just going to break your toe off and be like, you want some more? So guys are always, sharpening each other, honing that blade by making fun of each other, by, pushing buttons, and I think it's with that, making jokes with each other. That's where you find the safe space. Because if so, you test everybody. You test all the guys around you by making jokes. If they can't take it, maybe he's not safe to actually open up to and talk to about when I need to talk. If this guy can take it and he's, not Marvin Milquetoast and he has a spine, he has a foundation, and he can actually take the joke and then return something, and you guys have a good laugh about it. Now you're building a foundation with somebody. Now you're building a foundation with this guy, and you can trust him because he can take it. He's seen some things. He knows it's not that big a deal to call him names or to make fun of his watch. And so the guy's safe. And that's one of the ways we as men help sharpen each other and find out if the guys around us are safe and if they're worth spending our time with, because, the world's tough, man. You got to have guys that you can count on in the trenches that will have your back. And that's one way we as guys make sure that those guys around us will have our back.
It takes a man to make a man. And part of a man making a man, or us making each other better men, is the testing, and is the safe testing, not just for no reason, but and what that looks like is us pushing each other maybe to greater limits or better limits. I think about when I go to the gym, and sometimes I'll see like what looks like to be a guy and his lady working out together. Most of the time, it's the guy guiding. Well, not even most of the time. All the time, it's the guy guiding her and pushing her, and trying to guide her through the workout. Rarely do you see. I don't know if I've ever seen a woman kind of pushing a man in the gym, because biologically, anatomically, we're different. We are going to be stronger, generally speaking, or the ability to be stronger anyway. There are some women who are stronger than some men, yes, but on average, on the basics, for the most part, guys are generally stronger. Now you see two guys working out, they'll push each other. If you're going to get up underneath a bench and you're going to bench press some kind of PR, some kind of personal record, and you're going to push whatever limits, if you're a guy, you want another guy spotting you. I mean, if you're working out with your girl is not going to spot you on the day where you're trying to go for all your PRs. That ain't happening. Because when that bar comes down near your chest and you can't get it back up there, there's even some videos of that of like, women trying to help a guy. But my point being is that, you grab another guy will come over there and say, "Hey, spot me." Right. I mean, you're probably not going to go grab the female in the gym and say, "Can you spot me on this, 315 bench I'm about to do?" Probably not. And so, and to be honest, if two guys are working out together, we're going to work out harder. We're going to push each other. We're going to probably have a better workout. And so us as men sharpening one another is that testing. And it's also that pushing us to limits that we may not have been able to experience yet, but the other person knows that it's possible in us.
Yeah, and so before you get us canceled, I have seen ladies be personal trainers. Granted, to Kirk's point, that's usually good for guys who are just getting back into the gym, who just need someone to give them reps, to give them a program, and whatnot. But once they actually are starting to build good muscle, there comes a point where he may surpass that lady. And so when you get into the heavyweights, you want to have another dude around. And so, yeah, I know ladies, I know you can be personal trainers. I know you can be stronger men. I've seen it. But there does come a point where if he's actually working out and doing his thing, he's going to surpass you in strength.
And even to that point, man, that's I'm not even talking about like who can be in the gym and who can be working out and who can be whatever. But dude, let's be real, man. I mean, it's the exception, not the rule, that there are a plethora of women in the gym that are stronger than a plethora. If you pick any 10 guys in the gym and you pick any random 10 women in the gym, for the most part, 7 or 8 of those guys are going to be stronger than 9 of those women. So this ain't about who can work out and who can't work out. But I mean, for real, I mean, how many times have you seen a guy with, 3 plates on either side of the bar ask a woman to spot him? It just doesn't happen. I mean, and I've seen videos of women that are benching 315 and she has a guy spotting her. So, I'm not talking about like who can work out and who can't, and can this and can women be strong and have muscle. I'm talking about 315 on the bar. Who you grabbing to spot you? That's my point.
Oh, absolutely. And I just wanted to, nowadays you got to put the caveat out there just to make sure we know that y'all are in there. But when it comes right down to it, you'd rather have a dude spotting you. And that's where we get to the iron sharpen iron, men sharpen men. There comes a point where men have to elevate the guys around them. They got to elevate in the gym. They got to elevate on the battlefield. They got to elevate on the court. And they need other guys around them to do that because of the competition, because of the, giving each other a hard time of keeping their blade sharp. And this is why sons need fathers. This is why sons and young men need men in their lives, because when they don't get that, then they become the Marvin Milquetoast, and they become the guys who feel listless and depressed and lost because they haven't had the experience, or they haven't had a mentor guide them and bust their balls and give them a hard time and do those things that prepare them for the world. Because for us guys, I mean, 90% of all the deaths at work and the hard labor jobs and all the jobs that need to be done to keep the infrastructure of the world, and especially the America, running is done by men. Can women do it? Sure, but that's such a small percentage that you can pretty much say most of those jobs are done by men. And so that's why men need men. That's why we need to have a more healthy attitude towards masculinity in men, because we've seen in the last 50 years how that the media, the infrastructure, what do you want to call it, has been demonizing masculinity, has been demonizing men, making all men look like buffoons, and all men try to look like, Homer Simpson or something like that, just some beer swilling idiot. But that's not who actually keeps the world running. The men who are foundational, who are masculine, who are there to keep this world running, they need other men to keep them sharp so that they can keep the world running. But a lot of times they get caught up in this rhetoric of masculinity is bad and toxic masculinity. There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There's toxic people, and they can be men or women.
Yeah. You mentioned in the last segment, you talked about relationships and with wives or girlfriends or whatever, with the women in our lives. And you just mentioned another aspect, which is, sons and fathers, or young men and older men. And one of the probably easiest ways that we can fortify or strengthen, or whatever you want to call it, our masculine direction in our culture, is getting younger men around older men. Um, Even if it's just boys around their dads. I mean, if you're a single mom out there, and if you have a son, if that son does not have a man or men in his life, he's probably going to be in trouble when he becomes a man. I mean, he's not he's lacking. It's like giving a kid a meal with no calcium or no whatever. I mean, his masculine nutrition is insufficient for what the world is going to demand on him. So it is incumbent upon you, single mom, to make sure that your son is around either his father or or some healthy men. And there are circles of men or places, whether it's sports, whether it's a community thing, whether it's a church organization, whether it's something, I don't know, but there are a lot of boys that are being raised without fathers in their life, and I'm telling you that boy is going to grow up without direction, without a sense of foundation, without the ability to be a flagpole in a world that's going to require him to be stable for some flags. And so it is incumbent upon us to make sure that young men get around older men.
And it is incumbent upon us as Mad Men of Masculinity to take this break. We are the Mad Men. This is KLDC, and we'll be right back. I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to mention something about sports.
Yeah, man. I mean, getting them involved in some kind of, I mean, that's an easy activity. I mean, you might say, well, my son doesn't like sports, or my boy. Well, I mean, there are a whole lot of options. And there's a ton of sports. Not all of them are putting on a helmet and crashing into each other. There's tons of sports out there. I mean, shoot, tennis, swimming. I don't know. I mean, there's all kinds of options. But I mean, that's a great outlet, man. It's a great opportunity for them to learn some lessons: winning, losing, competition.
Yeah, let's touch on that.
Ideally, having some kind of mentor involved in that process too is great. So, all right, let's rock. We're back.
Yes, we're back.
Yeah, we talking about Mad Men of Masculinity, KLDC. We stream as we record, or we record as we stream. You can hook us. Yes. You can look us up on Facebook and YouTube and all the things. We out here. We out in these streets, and you can reach out to us. We're pretty accessible. There have been people. I text people who listened to us and heard us and just reached out one day, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? Let's text. And I keep in touch with folks in different parts of the country, man.
Yeah, you must be the nice one, because nobody ever be texting me. I must have that RDL or something. RDF.
I can help you with that one. Here's what it is. But no, man, there's a great guy down in Florida. He and I text every so often. Young guy, kind of, just going back and forth, but just with even long distance advice, which is kind of actually like, with my relationship now with my son. I mean, now I'm kind of in a coaching, mentoring phase with him. He's a grown man, about to become a dad, military. He's got his career. He's, doing his thing. And so, yeah, it's just, even if it's long distance, it's still just kind of mentoring. And, but another aspect of iron sharpening iron is allowing him to go through the trials and tribulations of life, to allow him to experience some of the buffeting of the waves, or some of the turbulence in this flight we call life. Being there for advice, being there for tech support, life tech support, man tech support, but at the same time, not trying to protect him from all the things that happen. And and allowing him to figure stuff out, allowing him to come out the other end and be like, yeah, okay, I made it through that. And that makes him a better man.
Yeah, and that's why we kind of ended last segment with talking to single moms about you need to have your boys in sports or something. Because I could just hear them like, all these athletes that used to talk about, oh, I love you, mom, and thanks, mom, and all that stuff, and talking about if it wasn't for their mom, they wouldn't be there. But their mom put them in sports, and so it wasn't just her doing all the heavy lifting. He was there around all the guys, the team, and everything else. And to your point, there's a difference of how men and women raise, how men and women nurture, and a man is more likely to allow that child to fail forward. Yeah, let him put it in the light socket, or let him stick that fork in the socket and see what happens. He won't do it again. We allow them to experience life. We allow that. We don't bubble wrap them. We don't try to protect them from all the harm in life, because all that does is make them dependent upon you. And I know it's the hardest thing that parents have to do, but the child that you can't live without, you got to train to live without you. And that's what men are good at and good for, because they prepare them for the world. They allow them to fail forward. They allow them to fall on their face and pick themselves back up. They give them some experience. You can't go into a battle without a couple scars. You're not going to be well trained, prepared for anything if you haven't had some adversity in the past. And that's what we as men do for each other. But it's also one of our greatest roles that we do for sons and for young men, is to prepare them for the world. And even daughters. You can see the aftermath of daughters with no fathers, and the aftermath of families that don't have a masculine influence with their both children, daughters and sons. You see that they're both better off when there's a father figure present. You see that they're both healthier and more prepared for the world when there's a father figure present. And not only are we as men sharpening each other, but we're also preparing children for the world.
Let me give you a real life example here recently, as a matter of fact. Life story, true story kind of thing. My son was driving his car, and he was driving, probably 2-3 hours away from where he's stationed down to Norfolk, Virginia. And, apparently his car just kind of blew up or gave out or whatever on the side of the road. And he had never experienced that before, obviously. And he was kind of like, oh crap, now what? So he called me. He said, of course you're going to be the first person I call, and I don't know what to do. And so, of course, the first, the first inclination is to solve it for him. Well, let me call so and so, and let me get you a tow truck, or let me call a brand, or let me whatever. Let me whip out my card and make it all go away, and all that kind of stuff. In the moment, I actually just, I told him, you'll be all right. This is just real world problems. It's cool. You can call a tow truck. You can check your auto insurance to see if they have towing service. I said, you can call a tow truck and get them to tow you. I think he was, kind of further down towards his friend's house where he was going to. I said, you can get a tow truck to tow you down to your friend's house. I said, it's probably going to be expensive. I said, or you can, go on your phone, sign up for AAA, and then request a tow. After you sign up, you then call them back and request a tow. And so he's like, all right, cool. I'll see what I can do. Well, over the next, I want to say like 48 to 72 hours, not only did he call AAA, get a tow to his friend's house down in Virginia, but then, he figured out that the issue with his truck could not be fixed, and it could not be fixed cheaply and quickly, because he had to get back up to his base to get to work. So then he went through whatever process. He went to Navy Federal. He looked up how much it would be to get a car loan. He went to a car dealership, and he freaking bought a new pickup truck. Like that. And then he had the common sense or wherewithal to go to U-Haul and rent a trailer. He put the truck that broke down up on a trailer, and then he used his new truck that he just went out and bought to tow his car back up to his base to get it back home. And then he found a buddy, and who is one of those auto shop kind of guys, and told me he could help him fix the transmission issue and all that kind of stuff. But he did all of that in 48, 72 hours. And then afterwards, he was like, man, I feel good. Like I solved the problem. I got me and, my wife and the car back, and we got a new car, blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. And, the whole point behind it all is absolutely, did he win in that situation and circumstance? But it wasn't my victory. It was his. I was just there to give him a little bit of coaching, let him know it'll be all right, and he could do it. And it turns out that he did it. And so from a real world perspective, I mean, he got to see that, man, he's capable of more than he knew when the whole thing happened.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we as men are usually pretty good at, is we can hold each other capable. We're not going to do it for you. We can coach you. We can give you advice, but we know you can do it. And I think it's something that's missing in a lot of young children's lives, is being held capable. It's the nurturing side of the feminine nature is amazing. It's needed. It's necessary. But there does come a point where you need that masculine side that's going to hold them capable. It's not going to bubble wrap them, let them fall down and scrape their knees, going to let them feel the pain in the world a little bit, and hold them capable of dealing with it, handling it. And when we don't do that, then they feel incapable. They don't know what to do. They've never had any adversity. Then they get out into the world and they're just soft. And then what happens with children who are soft out in the world is they get taken advantage of. Somebody who's scandalous and come on like, oh, they know what they're talking about. That's why, a lot of ladies at this point in their lives will find a man that has some idea about mechanics, has some idea about cars, and take him to the mechanics, because most mechanics will just go, oh, it's a lady, she doesn't know anything about it, and try to overcharge or try to add on services. And it's the way the world is. And unfortunately, if you aren't prepared for that, you don't know that might happen, you might get, taken for a ride, be charged double what you probably should have been charged. And so holding children capable, holding your partner capable, allowing people to fail forward is a necessity of life. It's something that we as men actually excel at when we have other men around us who are challenging us, holding us capable, and being like, hey, that's your job. You go do it. I'm here if you need advice or need support. You need me to help you move that couch? Cool, give me a call. But that's still your responsibility.
Yeah. And when you get, again, guys amongst other guys, especially guys that can support each other, guys that are there, I got your back. I'm going to be here. And, if it hits the fan in a bad way, I'm showing up. But until then, I'm gonna support you, encourage you. I might give you some advice, all those kinds of things. But to be able to have relationships with men that allow you to be better, become better, enable you to be better and to become better. That's the name of the game, man. That's the secret recipe for our journey as men.
Yeah, I think it's something that, especially for the single moms and ladies out there who are feminine and don't understand masculine nature, we're not being mean when we challenge or make jokes. We're just helping to hone that sword. We're helping to hone that individual and make them sharper and better. And it's kind of the same analogy as the trees. They tried to do lab grown trees, but they would always fall over, because without the wind, without that wind buffeting them and challenging them and causing them to grow their roots deep and cause them to grow thicker and stronger and to get more planted and foundational, they just fell over. And for guys, that's what we need. We need a little bit of challenge. We need a little bit of, fail forward, being held accountable, being held capable, so that we can build our foundation of masculinity, to build our foundation as a man, to know our worth, know our capabilities, know our strengths and our weaknesses, and to have those guys around us who we know support us so we can make it through life. Because most things you can handle as a man, but it's so much easier when you know you got somebody that's got your back. When you know you got somebody that can hold you capable. And sometimes it's just easy to go, hey, I know I can call Kirk up when I have a question about something I don't know, or I can call up this guy or that guy. They're not going to do it for me, but I know I have backup. And for so many guys out there, when they don't have the group of guys around them, they aren't being sharpened, they're not part of that iron sharpening iron group. A lot of times they just feel isolated and they don't feel like they have someone they can lean on. They don't feel like they have somebody they can report to or that will hold them capable and accountable. And that's something that, guys, we just need. We just need that to be the healthiest versions of ourselves.
Being able to call backup is huge, man, and having somebody there that is backing you up. When a cop pulls up on the scene something's about to go down, the first thing they do is call for backup. You know, I mean, Navy SEALs don't go into battle alone. Even the Lone Ranger had Tonto, right? So, you know, from a man perspective, to be able to have that backup, to be able to have somebody covering your six, to be able to have somebody in the foxhole of life with you, you know, it is invaluable. I mean, that's the meat and potatoes of life as a man. And unfortunately, in our culture, in our Western culture, we easily try to take on this "I got it all myself" mentality. Like I don't want to bother anybody, or I don't want anybody to see me not having it all together, or whatever you want to call it. And unfortunately, we get way off track, and you know, I believe that's part of the formula as to why so many of us tap out, why so many of us check out, because because we're alone. We live life alone. We don't have a 2 a.m. guy. And so, you know, for us to have backup is something that we're missing in our Western culture, and we need that desperately. That's the one thing that day to day every guy needs, and what we need right now is a break.
All right, let's take that break. Speaking of backup, we're the Mad Men of Masculinity. You're listening to us on KLDC or wherever in the world you get your podcast, and we will be right back.
Yeah, man, homeboy solved that whole problem in a weekend.
Not only solved it, like made it better. Like, well, that's not gonna be easily fixed. Let's just get a new vehicle. Like, boom,
Yep.
boom, boom.
And now, you know, now with the baby coming, you know, they got a reliable pickup, brand new one.
It's nice.
Yeah, he hooked it up, man. I was proud of that dude.
Yeah.
Like, you did it. You did it.
Got your back, but you did it. You get the prize.
Yep. Oh, it's raining.
Okay.
All right, let's wrap this bad boy.
Fourth quarter, baby.
Yeah, fourth quarter. Yo, we're back. We are back in Masculinity. We're on KLDC, 1220 AM in the Mile High City. Shout out Crawford Broadcasting. Shout out every podcast platform you and your mama listen to. Shout out all and YouTube, Facebook, man, all the things, man. I think some folks even hit us up on TikTok every now and then.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we get some feedback on TikTok. Let me tell you what, we chopped this up. We put our little 1-minute videos out there with little clips, and yeah, we'll be stirring the pot, getting some followers and getting some feedback. It's been a good time, and I mean, and especially for us, as you know, we're out here doing the best we can to make a difference in the world. We need our dudes, and we need your feedback as well. It helps keeps us sharp, keeps us honed, lets us know what you're interested in, what you're passionate about, lets us know what you want us to talk about. So, you know, don't be shy. Like so many of those guys out there, they watch us and don't say nothing. Man, talk to your boys. Let us know what's going on.
Get our back, like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. I mean, if you hit that little virtual button on your phone, it actually helps other people. It helps us for sure, but it also helps other people to have this come across their timelines and all that. Man, hit the button, man. It don't cost you nothing. It's free.
It's a little free button hit. Won't hurt you nothing. Won't hurt your
and
finger.
That's iron sharpening iron. That's you sharpening your brothers, man. That's what it's all about. Like I said, finish up on that last segment, man. In our culture, we need to be better in our Western lands of coming together as men. We are behind women for sure in that area in terms of coming together, supporting one another. You get women together, man, they'll support each other. I mean, to the end. I mean, even when they're dead wrong, it's like, girl, it ain't your fault. It's everybody else's fault. I know you can't keep a job, or I know you can't keep a man. I know you can't keep a home. I know you can't, keep nothing, but it's everybody else's fault. They'll support each other left and right. We are behind in terms of supporting each other, especially in times of when we need help or just being there, period. Because a lot of times if we don't know that we have support, then we don't know that we can call when things are hitting the fan, or we can just put it out there. When we had, coffee yesterday with the guys, we always start off with, just how things are going, just a little check-in, man. And and it's a safe space to say either things are great or I'm getting my nuts kicked in. Nobody's solving anybody's problems. I mean, but it's just a safe place. So you got to know, you got to be able to have those types of environments, those types of circles. And that's something that we are missing a lot in our culture.
Yeah, I mean, the support for men and women tends to look different. Men, we can give each other a hard time or whatnot, but in most cases, and from what I've seen, and I've seen some studies, and there's even that lady who pretended to be a man for a year and it didn't go so well. Um, we may give you a hard time, but we're there to help you out. We're there to be, men can be very loving and very supportive. And so don't be afraid to get some guys around you because, yeah, we give each other a hard time, but that's just love. That's just how we sharpen each other's, swords. It's how we keep each other accountable. It's how we hold each other capable. But when it comes right down to it, find a safe space of men and be willing to open up. Because a lot of times, and I probably 99 out of 100, when you're brave enough to say, "Hey, I'm struggling," you give permission to all those other guys to be like, "You know what, me too." But I don't want to say nothing because all y'all seem to have it together. So being vulnerable, being brave around the guys that support you, that got your back, is a blessing for them as well. Plus, we all love to help each other out. Whether you're men or women, we love to help each other out, but we can't help you if we don't know what you need help with. So something to Kirk's point that we as men especially need to get better at is opening up, allowing other men in, allowing other men to support us, but also with our ladies, opening up and letting them know I need men around me to be the best version of me for you. Because, in those young puppy dog relationships are always like, "Oh, you're it, baby. You're my boo boo, and we don't need nobody else. It's us against the world." Yeah, that lasts for about a couple months. You need to have that polarity. You need to have that iron sharpen iron. You need to have guys around you as men, and ladies, you got to have your ladies around you so you can be the best version of you for your guy.
Yeah. I've seen it over and over again, and it's probably one of the biggest mistakes. And it just frustrates me when it happens, because especially, I mean, because you can't tell the guy anything, but life gets tough, or even his marriage might be going through a tough time, and his solution is to check out from all of his guy friends and guy circles and all that kind of stuff. And I need to spend more time with my wife, and I'm working on your marriage is not just sitting around the house doing whatever it takes around the house, or doing whatever she says you need to be doing, or whatever. Working on your marriage is making you the best man that you can be. You did that before you got married. And so working on your marriage, working on your person, working on all those kinds of things is not checking out of your guy circles. I've seen that over and over again from guys of like, things are tough at home, so I need to be at home. Not necessarily. I mean, it sounds counterintuitive, and I'm gonna push back on that whole philosophy that working on your marriage means you got to be in the house. I say not. I say you need to be working on your marriage. Part of that is working on you, and working on you as a man is strengthening and sharpening your blade, your saw. And sometimes that might be in the gym. Sometimes that might be, sitting around a table with guys, or sitting in a, knee to knee with a circle of guys, or whatever, wherever that work might take place. But sometimes the work that needs to be done is not just sitting around a house, just whatever, just sitting around the house doing nothing. That ain't working on it. That's just checking out from the things that are most important.
Yeah, and I think it's a great point that if you are in a group of guys and you are one of those guys that's doing all right and they got your stuff together, but then one of your boys is slacking off, or he's going silent, he's going radio silent, you're not hearing from him, and you just feel that urge to give him a call, check in on your boy. A lot of times we just as men naturally will pull in when we're struggling because we have that, I got to suck it up. I got to, take care of this. It's my job. It's not anybody else's job. And so we tend to isolate more. And usually when we isolate is when we need the support of our brothers more. Usually when we isolate and pull back is when something's going on. So pay attention to your boys. And we're all busy. We all have our own lives going on and families and careers and all those things. But if your boy pops in your head and you haven't heard from him and you can just sense something's going on, check in with him. And usually you'll get that, "Oh, no, everything's fine." So then you got to go, "Are you sure? I'm here for you.
Yeah.
Open up. Let's talk about it, because I don't want you imploding or exploding because you haven't released that pressure."
Yeah. Yeah. Checking in on your guys, man. I mean, that can save somebody's life. Just a text. How's it going? Thinking about you. That alone itself is huge. And you take that a step further and talk about, let's get together for coffee or, or whatever. Let's do a workout together or something. I don't know, whatever it is, whatever your thing is with that person. But just to reach out to a guy and just text him, a guy you haven't talked to in a while. Just a text. It don't cost you nothing. And maybe 30 seconds to just send a quick text. Hey, how you doing? And to your point, when guys get quiet, when you haven't heard from guys in a while, that's probably an indication that they could use a check-in. Again, just sitting here talking, I texted my son, how you doing? Just,
check in.
We get so caught up in life and in fighting the battles, that, sometimes we need somebody to remind us that we're not the only one on the battlefield. And so, yeah, if you're a guy out there, check in with a guy, man. Just hit it randomly, maybe weekly, pick two or three guys that I haven't talked to this guy in forever. I'm just going to send him a text thinking about you. How you doing, man? That's it.
Well, it's one of those things, like you said, we get so caught up and then we forget. But to let everybody off the hook, you don't have to be responsible for that man. You don't got to spend days and weeks with him. 12 minutes. I mean, the study shows 12 minutes of you checking in with a guy could save that guy's life. You call them up and just be like, hey, man, you got 15 minutes? Let's chat. I haven't heard from you in a minute. I just want to see how you're doing. You kind of went radio silent there, so I want to make sure you're doing good. That could save that man's life. You never know how that little bit of kindness, that little bit of love from you could take that weight off his shoulders enough that he can see the light of day and feel like he's not, buried under the weight of the world and that, he doesn't have any outlets. And a lot of times just being there to listen and then just be like, yeah, I've dealt with that. Oh, he doesn't feel alone. Oh, here's how I did that. Then he has an idea. He has a solution, something he can think about. We're in this together, y'all. So don't isolate. You're not an island. We're all here trying to do the same thing, make it through this thing called life.
And that's the thing, man. We all on this battlefield. And everybody's got problems. Everybody's fighting a giant. Everybody. My giant might look different than your giant, but we're all on a battlefield with a few rocks in our pocket trying to take down a giant. And I don't care how rich you are. I don't care how healthy you are. I don't care how how great your career is going or not, for any of those things. We all got stuff that we're going through, that we're battling, that we're struggling with, as men. We have a load that we're carrying. We got weight on our shoulders. A lot of us, man, are like not far from, we're bending, but not breaking. Right. So as men, we got to lean on each other. We get it. We understand. Women have their own journeys. They got their own, whatever you want to call it. They don't understand the battles that we fight. They don't understand the weights that we carry and all those kinds of things. They just don't. They can't. They never experienced the common journey that's manhood. And so to be able to have guys around you, man, that are in your life is huge and is important, man. And not forgetting that we're not alone in this battle.
Yeah, as men who want to be better, I'm assuming if you were watching us, listening to us, have come to the summit, know our names, seeing our faces, you were trying to be a man who wants to be better. You have an idea or a perspective or a goal of being the better version of yourself. And we're all growing. We're all learning. We're all struggling to try to be the best version of ourselves. But, holler at your boys. We're here to help. We're not perfect, but we're here, willing to be vulnerable, willing to be open, willing to be honest, and let you know this is how we're dealing with it. This is what we do. But you got to have guys around you. Neither one of us would be where we're at today if it wasn't for each other or for the guys around us. We wouldn't be writing books, doing talks, being on stages, doing this show. We wouldn't be doing none of this stuff if it wasn't for each other. We can have all the grand ideas you want, but you need support. And for men nowadays, we need more healthy men around us. And so maybe, guys, it's time to edit your friends group. That dude that wants to go drink at the bar and have beers and watch football, cool. Maybe time to edit some of that time and go hang out with some other dudes a little more often, just so you can level up. Because when you're around other guys that are leveling up, it's much easier for you to level up. So we're here as Mad Men and Masculinity to help you level up. Holler at your boys, like and subscribe. And until next time, I'm Jason B. Kendrick. That's Kirk M. Samuels. We are out.
Out.